What would you do if you saw a corpse suddenly sit up and speak? Would you scream, run, or would you stand frozen in awe, questioning everything you thought you knew about life and death? Today, we bring you a story so astonishing, so miraculous that it challenges the very boundaries of our understanding. This is the tale of a man who was declared dead, only to return to life in the most extraordinary way. A story that reminds us of the power of faith, the mysteries of the unseen, and the infinite wisdom of Allah. Stay with us because what you're about to hear will leave you in awe. In Islam, death is not the end, but a transition, a doorway to the next life. The rituals surrounding death, from the washing of the body to the burial, are deeply rooted in respect and reverence for the deceased. These practices are not just traditions, they are acts of worship, a final service to the soul that has departed. But what happens when the natural order is disrupted, when the dead seem to defy the laws of nature? Such events are rare, but when they occur, they leave an indelible mark on those who witness them. The story we're about to share is one such event. It took place in Egypt, a land steeped in history and mystery, where the line between the seen and the unseen often blurs. It's a story that begins with death, but ends with a miracle that reminds us of Allah's power over all things. The devout man, a life of faith and service. Our story begins with a man whose life was a testament to faith and devotion. Known for his piety and unwavering commitment to worship, he was a beloved member of his community. When the COVID-19 pandemic swept across the globe, he, like many others, fell victim to the virus. Despite being hospitalized, he continued to pray, finding solace in his connection with Allah. But as his condition worsened, it became clear that his time in this world was drawing to a close. One fateful day, he passed away. His family, devastated by their loss and fearful of the virus, left his body in a hospital room, awaiting the final preparations for burial. The hospital staff, tasked with washing the body, were the only ones present. What happened next would change their lives forever. The miracle, a corpse that sat up. As the staff entered the room, they were met with a sight that defied explanation. Two radiant figures stood at the head of the deceased, their presence filling the room with an otherworldly light. Before anyone could react, the figures dissolved into the air, and the unthinkable happened. The corpse sat up. Chaos erupted, screams echoed through the hospital as staff members fled the room. But one brave soul stayed behind, his curiosity outweighing his fear. He approached the man who was now sitting upright and asked, "Who are you? What happened?" The man, confused but calm, replied, "I was asleep, and then I heard a voice telling me it wasn't my time. I opened my eyes and here I am." The hospital staff, still in shock, conducted a series of tests. To their astonishment, the man showed no signs of COVID-19. In fact, he was in perfect health. Doctors struggled to explain what had happened. Some suggested he had been in a state of deep shock, his heart restarting after being declared dead. But those who had seen the radiant figures knew there was more to the story. The aftermath, a community-transformed news of the miracle spread quickly, igniting a wave of awe and reverence throughout the community. The man, now hailed as a living testament to Allah's power, shared his experience with anyone who would listen. "I don't remember much," he said, "but I know that Allah gave me a second chance. I don't know why, but I intend to make the most of it." The two radiant figures remained a mystery. Were they angels, messengers from the unseen world? No one could say for sure, but their presence was a reminder that there are forces at work beyond our understanding, and that Allah's plans are far greater than our own. This miraculous event raises profound questions about life, death, and the nature of faith. It challenges us to reconsider our understanding of the unseen and to recognize the signs that Allah places in our path. But it also highlights the importance of the rituals and traditions that surround death in Islam. In a world where the dead are often forgotten, Islam teaches us to honor and respect them. The washing of the body, the funeral prayers, and the burial are not just acts of kindness, they are acts of worship. They remind us of our own mortality and the transient nature of this life. Yet, as this story shows, death is not always the end. Sometimes it is a doorway to something greater, a reminder of Allah's power and mercy. It is a call to reflect on our own lives and to strive for a deeper connection with our Creator. The story of the man who returned from death also raises questions about leadership and authority. Who has the right to declare someone dead? What role do doctors and medical professionals play in determining the fate of the deceased? These questions are not just philosophical, they have real-world implications. In many cultures, death is seen as a medical event, determined by the absence of a heartbeat or brain activity. But in Islam, death is a spiritual event, determined by Allah alone. This distinction is crucial, especially in cases where the line between life and death is blurred. The man's miraculous return to life serves as a reminder that our understanding of death is limited. It challenges us to approach the end of life with humility and reverence, recognizing that only Allah has the power to give and take life. Egypt is a land where the veil between this world and the next seems thin. The mystical landscape of the desert with its endless dunes and ancient ruins evokes a sense of timelessness and mystery. It is a place where the past and present coexist, where the spiritual and the mundane intertwine. It is a place where miracles feel possible. The Nile River, lifeblood of the nation, flows with a serenity that has nurtured civilizations for millennia. In the quiet corners of old churches, the flickering candles and whispered prayers create an atmosphere of profound reverence and hope. In a bustling Cairo hospital, the drama of life and death unfolds daily. Amidst the chaos of the city, this hospital stands as a beacon of hope and healing. The corridors echo with the sounds of hurried footsteps, urgent voices, and the beeping of medical equipment. Doctors and nurses work tirelessly, battling illness and injury. Their dedication and compassion are evident in every gesture, every word of comfort, and every life they save. They are the unsung heroes, the guardians of life in a place where every moment counts. But nothing could prepare them for what was about to happen. The unexpected events that were about to unfold would challenge their skills, their beliefs, and their very understanding of the world. This is where our story truly begins, in a place of both immense hope and profound sorrow. In the heart of this ancient land, amidst the miracles and mysteries, the lives of ordinary people will intersect with the extraordinary, and the boundaries between the possible and the impossible will blur. Amidst the hospital's sterile walls lay a man named Muhammad. He was a devout Muslim, known for his piety and unwavering faith. His life was a testament to his love for God. He prayed diligently, fasted with sincerity, and treated others with kindness and compassion. Muhammad had contracted a severe case of COVID-19. The virus ravaged his body, leaving him weak and struggling for breath. Despite the pain and suffering, his faith never wavered. He surrendered to the will of Allah, finding solace and strength in prayer. He knew that every soul shall taste death, and he faced his fate with courage and dignity. Days turned into nights as Muhammad's condition deteriorated. Doctors worked tirelessly, but the virus was relentless. One fateful night, as the call to prayer echoed through the city, Muhammad's heart monitor flatlined. The room fell silent, the air thick with grief. Muhammad, the devout, the faithful, had breathed his last. His family gathered, their hearts heavy with sorrow, yet their faith offered them solace. Death, they knew, was not the end. It was merely a transition, a journey back to their Creator. They began the sacred rituals of preparing their beloved Muhammad for his final journey. Section 5. Shrouded and ready for burial. The hospital staff, accustomed to the cycle of life and death, carried out the necessary procedures. They washed Muhammad's body with care and reverence according to Islamic tradition. Then, they shrouded him in simple white cloth, a symbol of purity and equality in the eyes of God. Muhammad's body, prepared for burial, lay in the hospital morgue. The air was cold, the silence heavy. Outside, the city slept, unaware of the miracle that was about to transpire. This is where our story takes an extraordinary turn, defying the laws of nature and challenging the very definition of life and death. Unbeknownst to the hospital staff, something extraordinary was happening. A soft glow emanated from the morgue, accompanied by whispers too faint to be human. Radiant figures, unseen by mortal eyes, surrounded Muhammad's shrouded form. These were celestial beings, their presence a testament to the sacredness of the moment. The whispers grew louder, transforming into a chorus of ethereal voices. They spoke of divine mercy, of second chances, of a life not yet over. The air crackled with unseen energy as the celestial beings performed their appointed task. A sudden movement shattered the silence of the morgue. The still form beneath the shroud stirred. Muhammad, moments ago lifeless, now sat up, his eyes wide with bewilderment. He looked around at his surroundings, disoriented, his mind struggling to comprehend the impossible. The celestial beings, their mission fulfilled, vanished as quickly as they had appeared. The ethereal glow faded, leaving behind an eerie silence. Muhammad, his heart pounding in his chest, threw back the shroud and stepped out of the shadows. He was alive, resurrected by the grace of God. News of the impossible event spread through the hospital like wildfire. Nurses and doctors rushed to the morgue, their disbelief palpable. Among them was a young, skeptical doctor named Amin. Amin, a man of science and logic, refused to believe the rumors. Driven by curiosity, Amin cautiously entered the morgue. There, standing before him, was Muhammad, very much alive. Amin's skepticism crumbled in the face of this undeniable miracle. He approached Muhammad, his mind racing with questions. Muhammad, still shaken by his experience, recounted his tale. His voice trembled as he described the events that had unfolded, each word carrying the weight of the extraordinary. He spoke with a conviction that left no room for doubt, his eyes reflecting the profound impact of what he had witnessed. He spoke of a divine light, a light so pure and radiant that it seemed to pierce through the very fabric of reality. This light, he said, was unlike anything he had ever seen, a beacon of hope and serenity that enveloped him completely. He described hearing voices that filled him with peace, voices that seemed to come from another world. These voices, gentle and soothing, spoke to him in a language that transcended words, a language of the soul that brought him an overwhelming sense of calm and reassurance. Muhammad recounted a journey to a realm beyond human comprehension, a place where time and space seemed to dissolve. In this mystical realm he experienced visions that defied explanation, visions that revealed truths about existence and the universe that he could scarcely begin to understand. Amin listened intently, his heart filled with a mix of awe and terror. The gravity of Muhammad's words weighed heavily on him, and he couldn't help but feel a profound sense of wonder and fear at the same time. The story was so incredible, so beyond the ordinary, that it left him questioning the very nature of reality. The news of Muhammad's resurrection spread beyond the hospital walls, captivating the entire nation. People from all walks of life were drawn to the story, eager to learn more about this miraculous event. Conversations buzzed with excitement and curiosity, as the tale of Muhammad's experience became the talk of the town. People flocked to the hospital, eager to hear his story firsthand. They gathered in large numbers, their faces filled with anticipation and hope. The crowd listened attentively, hanging on to every word, as Muhammad shared his extraordinary journey with them. Muhammad's experience became a testament to the power of faith, a story that inspired countless individuals to believe in the impossible. His tale was a beacon of hope, a reminder that even in the darkest of times, faith can light the way and guide us through the unknown. It was a reminder that with God, all things are possible. Muhammad's story touched the hearts of many, reigniting their faith and encouraging them to trust in the divine. It was a powerful message of hope and resilience, a testament to the enduring strength of the human spirit. It was a stark reminder that the mysteries of life and death are ultimately in the hands of the Almighty. As people reflected on Muhammad's experience, they were reminded of the fragility of life and the profound mysteries that lie beyond our understanding. It was a moment of contemplation, a time to ponder the deeper questions of existence and the role of faith in our lives. He remembered the silence, a deep, all-encompassing silence that felt like the end of everything. It was a silence that seemed to stretch on forever, a void where time and space ceased to exist. In that moment, he felt utterly alone, as if he were the last person in the universe. Then, slowly, he became aware of sounds. Faint at first, like whispers in the dark, they gradually grew louder, pulling him back from the brink of nothingness. The soft beep of a machine. It was rhythmic, almost soothing, a reminder that life still pulsed within him. The rustle of fabric nearby. Someone was there, tending to him, ensuring he was comfortable. It was a small gesture, but it meant the world in that moment. He opened his eyes, a wave of confusion washing over him. The room was unfamiliar, sterile, filled with the scent of antiseptic. He tried to piece together the fragments of his memory, but they were elusive, like grains of sand slipping through his fingers. He was in a hospital bed, the harsh fluorescent lights stinging his eyes. What had happened? He struggled to recall the events that led him here, but his mind was a foggy haze. The last thing he remembered was a sharp pain in his chest, then nothing. It was as if someone had flipped a switch, plunging him into darkness. His family told him later that his heart had stopped. He was gone. The words hung heavy in the air, a stark reminder of how close he had come to the edge. For 7 minutes he was gone. 7 minutes where his life hung in the balance, teetering on the brink of oblivion. The doctors had done everything they could, but there was no response. They had fought valiantly, but it seemed as though fate had other plans. His wife had held his hand, whispering prayers. Her voice, though soft, was filled with a desperate hope, a plea to the universe to bring him back. His children stood by, faces stained with tears. They had watched helplessly as the medical team worked, their young hearts breaking with each passing second. Then, just as the doctor began to say the words they dreaded, his hand twitched, his eyes fluttered open. He was back. It was a miracle, a moment that defied explanation. The world felt different, sharper somehow. Every detail seemed to stand out in stark relief, as if he were seeing it all for the first time. Colors seemed more vibrant, sounds more distinct. It was as if his senses had been heightened, attuned to the beauty and fragility of life. He felt a deep sense of peace, a calmness he had never known before. It was a serenity that came from understanding just how precious each moment truly was. He had been given a second chance, a gift he couldn't fully comprehend. It was an opportunity to live again, to cherish the moments he had once taken for granted. He vowed to make the most of it, to live with intention and gratitude, knowing that every heartbeat was a testament to the miracle of his survival. News of his revival spread through the hospital like wildfire. It was as if a spark had ignited a dry forest, and the flames of curiosity and astonishment spread rapidly from one ward to another. Nurses whispered in hushed tones, their eyes wide with disbelief. They exchanged glances filled with questions, each one wondering if they had heard correctly, if such a thing was even possible. Doctors crowded around his bed, flipping through charts, checking and rechecking their instruments. His EKG was normal. They scrutinized every detail, every reading, trying to find a clue, a hint of what had transpired. His blood pressure was stable. The numbers on the monitor were steady, unwavering, as if mocking the chaos that had erupted around him. All his vital signs were perfect. Heart rate, oxygen levels, everything was in the green. It was as if his body had been reset, brought back to a state of pristine health. There was no medical explanation for his recovery. The doctors, seasoned professionals with years of experience, were at a loss. They had seen many things in their careers, but this was beyond their understanding. He overheard one doctor muttering, "It's a miracle." The word, usually reserved for the extraordinary, the unexplainable, seemed to fit perfectly in this context. The word hung in the air, heavy with awe and wonder. It was a moment that transcended the sterile environment of the hospital, touching something deeper, something almost spiritual. This man, who was moments from death, was now sitting up in bed, talking, laughing, full of life. His transformation was nothing short of miraculous, a testament to the resilience of the human spirit. It defied logic, defied science. The medical staff, trained to rely on data and evidence, found themselves grappling with something that couldn't be quantified or explained. It was a mystery that echoed through the sterile halls of the hospital, leaving everyone who heard it touched by something extraordinary. Conversations in the cafeteria, in the break rooms, all revolved around this one patient, this one inexplicable event. He, however, felt no different. To him, it was as if he had simply woken up from a deep sleep, refreshed and rejuvenated. He felt stronger, healthier even, than he had in years. His muscles, once weak and frail, now felt robust and full of energy. The crushing weight of his former life, the stress and worries, seemed to have vanished. It was as if he had been given a second chance, a new lease on life. He felt lighter, as if a burden had been lifted from his soul. The constant pressure, the relentless grind, all seemed like distant memories. He knew in his heart that something profound had happened, something that went beyond the realm of medical charts and scientific explanations. It was a feeling, an intuition, that he couldn't quite put into words. As he gazed out of the window, watching the sunlight stream into the room, he felt a deep sense of gratitude. He was alive, and that was all that mattered. His family entered the room, their faces a mix of relief and joy. They hugged him tightly, their tears of happiness mingling with his own. In that moment, surrounded by his loved ones, he realized that life was a precious gift, one that he would never take for granted again. They laughed together, sharing stories and memories, the room filled with a warmth that no medical miracle could ever explain. He made a silent vow to himself, to live each day to the fullest, to cherish every moment, and to never forget the miracle that had brought him back to life. The hospital staff, too, looked at him with admiration. They had witnessed something extraordinary, something that would stay with them for the rest of their lives. As he walked down the hospital corridor, the staff members nodded at him, their eyes filled with respect and wonder. He was a living testament to the power of hope and the resilience of the human spirit. Stepping out of the hospital, he felt the warmth of the sun on his face. It was a new beginning, a fresh start, and he was ready to embrace it with open arms. He looked up at the sky, a smile spreading across his face. He was alive, and for the first time in a long time he felt truly at peace. Word spread beyond the hospital walls, reaching his community, his city, and beyond. The man who came back from the dead. The story resonated with people, igniting their imaginations and stirring something deep within their hearts. He became a beacon of hope, a living testament to the power of faith. People flocked to his doorstep, eager to hear his story, to touch his hand, to be in the presence of someone who had glimpsed the afterlife. He shared his experience with humility and grace, never claiming to understand the why or how of it all. He simply knew that he had been given a second chance, and he was determined to live it with purpose and gratitude. His story transcended cultural and religious boundaries. People from all walks of life, from different faiths and backgrounds, found solace and inspiration in his experience. It reminded them that there are forces at work in the universe beyond our comprehension, mysteries that humble us and fill us with a sense of wonder. He often found himself recounting the experience of his brief journey to the other side. It was a story he never grew tired of telling, for it was a moment that had profoundly changed his life. Each time he shared it, he felt a renewed sense of peace and purpose, as if the very act of recounting it brought him closer to that divine light once more. He spoke of a profound peace, a sense of overwhelming love, and a brilliant light that seemed to emanate from everywhere and nowhere at once. This light was unlike anything he had ever seen or felt before. It was warm, inviting, and all-encompassing, wrapping him in a cocoon of serenity and comfort. The light seemed to pulse with life, as if it were a living entity, breathing and glowing with an energy that was both ancient and eternal. And within that light, he saw figures. These figures were not just shapes or shadows, they were beings of light, radiant and ethereal. They moved with a grace and fluidity that was mesmerizing, their forms shifting and shimmering in the luminous glow. It was as if they were made of the very essence of the light itself, their presence both comforting and awe-inspiring. Radiant figures, filled with a love so pure, it brought tears to his eyes even now as he spoke of it. Their expressions were filled with an emotion that transcended words, a love that was unconditional and all-encompassing. It was a love that reached into the deepest parts of his soul, healing wounds he didn't even know he had. The memory of their faces, their smiles, and their gentle, understanding eyes was something he carried with him always. He couldn't explain who they were or what they represented, but he knew they were beings of immense compassion and wisdom. They seemed to know him, to understand him in a way that no one else ever had. Their presence was a balm to his spirit, a reminder that he was seen, known, and loved. He felt a deep connection to them, as if they were old friends or family members he had long forgotten but was now joyfully reunited with. They didn't speak in words, but he understood their message clearly. It was a communication that transcended language, a transfer of knowledge and emotion that was instantaneous and complete. Through their eyes, their gestures, and the very light that surrounded them, he received their message. It was a message that resonated deep within him, a truth that he felt rather than heard. It was a message of hope, of love, and of the importance of living a life filled with purpose and meaning. They conveyed to him that every moment of life was precious, that every action, no matter how small, had significance. They urged him to live with intention, to seek out joy, and to spread love wherever he went. Their message was a call to live fully, to embrace the beauty and the challenges of life with an open heart. This vision, this encounter with the light and the radiant figures became a source of strength and guidance for him. Whenever he faced difficulties or felt lost, he would close his eyes and remember the light, the figures, and their message. It was a wellspring of inspiration that he could draw from, a reminder that he was never truly alone. The memory of that experience gave him the courage to face his fears and the wisdom to navigate the complexities of life. It reminded him that he was not alone, that even in the face of death, there was love, there was light, and there was a plan far greater than he could ever comprehend. This realization brought him a profound sense of peace and acceptance. He understood that life was a journey, one that was guided by a higher power and filled with moments of grace and beauty. The light and the figures were a testament to the enduring power of love and the eternal nature of the soul. They were a beacon of hope.